Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Great to be with you. Thanks for tuning to us. Hope you're well on this Lawn Maintenance Tuesday. Oh, boy, do I have some maintenance to do. Got to get to it. I'm woefully behind. I know you don't have that problem, Tom. The lawn, that is.
Oh, I thought you were just making that an analogy for the football program. And
we got that, too.
Yeah, maintenance to be done.
We got time for that. That's what this show is going to be about. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. You can go there and listen to the show live via the streaming free if you'd like. You can always listen in also on the WTSM app. It's a free app for both iPhone and Android. So download that. You won't have to deal with Tropos either. Plus, the archived audio is there. We'll post the archived audio, speaking of which, after the show concludes, to iTunes and on our webpage, ESPNTallahassee.com. You can email me if you like, jcs@979espnradio.com. And I would also say that if you're one of those guys or gals that periscopes, good on you for your steadfast commitment to periscoping. Go to at 979 ESPN Radio on the Twitter feed there. You'll be able to periscope the show. Well, my goodness, man. You go to bed and you think, well, it'll be an interesting day tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit about that basketball team. We'll continue to speculate about the recruiting class. We'll talk a little bit about the NFL. And then, boom, just like that, Walt Bell says, peace. I'm out. You know, I spoke to Walt Bell when he first got the job, and I was standing a foot from him, speaking to him before the year began, before practices began, before anything began. And he said, one thing you'll learn about me is that I have an unbelievable level of ambition. He said those words to me. He said, I am as ambitious as anybody you will ever meet. And he, one of the things I did like about him, I suppose, was that he was willing to come forward in that way. And I remember leaving that conversation thinking that, well, he won't be here very long. And that is correct. He is not. What I didn't know was all the stuff that was going to happen between that conversation and the news that we learned yesterday. And there's a lot to unpack there because this didn't go all that well. And I'm not so sure that that's his fault, Willie's fault, whose fault exactly it was. There's a lot of reasons for things. But it's pretty clear now that a picture has been painted, and you can, depending on what you can confirm and certainly what you're willing to talk about when it comes to rumors, Walt wasn't, whether it was UMass or somewhere else, Walt wasn't going to be here next year. Now, he goes because he's always wanted to be a head coach, and he made that abundantly clear in that same conversation that I had with him. He's had that conversation with other people as well. But also, we don't know what he did here. Go back to a question I asked before the season began, as practice was going on, as camp had gotten underway. This is me asking Walt Bell a question at a press conference.
We'll go to Jeff in the back left.
Coach, we know Coach Taggart said he'd be calling plays on game day, but in terms of scouting, week to week, self-scouting, putting together a game plan, what will your responsibilities be?
I look at coordinate, especially in this situation, it is a verb. And my job specifically, and honestly, having not been through a game week with Coach Taggart yet, I can't tell you exactly, but I think my job this season is as follows, and that's to do everything that I can possibly do, whether it be from a efficiency, time management, organization. My job is to do everything that I can possibly do where it is as easy as it can possibly be for him on game day. And that's my job, to make sure that from an organizational standpoint, from a teaching standpoint, from a mentorship standpoint, that we're doing everything we can do for our 11 kids on offense to make sure that all Coach Taggart's got to do is go out there and call it, and it happens the way he wants it to. So not real sure yet, but we'll know real soon.
So I love the last part because everything in between is mumbo jumbo. And I was thinking it when he was answering. I was like, well, this is a long-winded way of saying you have no idea. And then he came around to it and said, I don't know.
Yeah, we did a bit on that.
Yeah, we did. So I still don't know what Walt Bell did here.
Coach, what is differential equation? Well, differential equation, differential. I think that's something that helps us differentiate between things. One thing is one way, another thing's another, and you got to determine which way the first thing is and the second. But I don't know. I have no idea.
There it is. And he I don't know that he was happy. I do know that he wanted to be a head coach. He got the opportunity. He's taken it. Tell you what, you have to really want to be a head coach to decide to walk away from being the offensive coordinator at Florida State to take the head coaching job at UMass. Good luck with that. But, hey, I have no problem with Walt Bell, so that's not to take a shot. I'm just saying he really wanted to be a head coach. But it does lead us down a path to where we have a larger conversation now about what does it mean? What does that what does that say to you if you're looking at this organization from afar? And then later on in the day, you get news that Hugh Freeze has emerged as a potential candidate. And if you've been listening to this show over the years, then you know the Hugh Freeze story. It's a doozy. But we'll have to revisit it and talk about.
I believe we have voicemails for Hugh, don't we?
We do. Good old Hugh, man. There are a lot of funny moments. Well, I don't know what to say about this other than to say, do you really believe that Willie Taggart is the one saying to the university, let's go get Hugh Freeze? Or do you believe that Willie Taggart is being asked to accept that Hugh Freeze may be coming to help out?
Well, that's a loaded question.
Well, I would say to you that Jimmy Sexton runs college football, and he is Hugh Freeze's agent. He was Walt Bell's agent. He is Willie Taggart's agent, Jimbo Fisher's agent, Nick Saban's agent, on down the list of people that we could name in college football, who's who, if you will. And a lot of people believe he orchestrates a lot of things. Well, Walt Bell takes it on down the road. This offense was a disaster this past season. A lot of reasons for that, but nonetheless, a disaster. Willie's first season at the helm, not a good one. Got to get it right, and in a hurry. Hugh Freeze needs a landing spot. Don't know that that can happen in the SEC. Hugh would like to go to Tennessee, by all accounts. Tennessee's got their own set of special circumstances, and there are rumors swirling around Tennessee about some of the problems Jeremy Pruitt's having there. We'll see what becomes of that. That's not my beat. Tennessee's got issues.
Whole part whole.
Maybe if there's a noun in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's some problems going on there. So we'll leave that to them. Let the Knoxville beat handle that. So Tennessee's not going to say, come on down, Hugh. We like more problems. We like the baggage you bring to the table. So throw that out. There's thought about Hugh maybe looking into Auburn. There's thought about him replacing Mike Locksley, who's the current offensive coordinator at Alabama. The 48-year-old may want to be the next head coach at Maryland. So you now start connecting the dots. This is fun. We love this in college football, right? So Locksley could then go take the head job at Maryland. The thought being that Saban would then, because mercenary coaches make mercenary decisions about winning games and winning trumps all, Hugh, I don't care if you like hookers. Come on, baby. Come on over here. You're a hell of a play caller. So now there's a lot of time constraints to the larger conversation, and Jimmy Sexton says, okay, I may have to help one client out here in the form of Willie Taggart. I need a soft landing spot for my man Hugh Freeze. Hugh, you go down there and help Willie. Willie, you'll be a CEO, handle things, big picture stuff. Clearly there were more fires than you could put out your first year, and that hamstrung you. Get on it before you lose your dream job. Willie says, okay, I will. Hugh says, all right, I can dig Florida State. Maybe stay there a year and take it on down the road to be a head coach my damn self. See what opens up. Except for that's where we step in as Knowles and say, hold on. No, Jimmy. You ain't doing us like that. We need 2 years. We need 2 years because the place will be in a better situation when you leave. The job will be more desirable for the next guy. Easier hire for Willie to make at that point. We've righted the ship. You give us 1 year, this constant rotation ain't going to get it done. Now, we can't hold you to it, Jimmy, but let's have a wink, wink, nod, nod, handshake, something here that says that's not going to happen. He's not going anywhere after 1 year. will make the buyout extreme. Any place that wants him is going to have to pay a hefty price. So at the very least, if you're telling us to stretch, we're going to get our money's worth. And we could use a little bit of money right about now. So you protect yourself a little bit. But Hugh Freeze would come with an awful lot of baggage. Make no mistake about it. The rumors surrounding that guy, in addition to the known facts surrounding that guy, paint a picture of a scumbag. There is no way around it. A scumbag. A scumbag who knows football, can recruit without question, and understands the game. Hence the reason a guy like Saban would hire him. Like that. What are you willing to do? You know, I joke on the show on a fairly regular basis about pancakes and trying to win some games around here, Tom. I understand sometimes in recruiting, kids need a little bit more. They need some assurance that things are going to work out. And I'm not blind to these realities, right? But come on, we are really stretching it. We are really probably taking this a little too far if we're willing to entertain the idea of bringing in Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, I think if you go here, the warm and fuzzy element about this coaching tenure is immediately gone. I think you've traded that. Not to mention other news we'll talk about today. But I would think that the warm and fuzzy is about doing things the right way, you know, and being stewards in the community and caring about academics and all that, and the priorities are in line. That's all gone. That's all gone, and it's been traded for desperation, because that's, to me, what this move reeks of. Is if you bring this guy in here, it's because you know things are spiraling out of control. And to me, I wasn't so sure, you know, while I believe that things weren't obviously ideal, you could also pin a lot of what happened this season on the offensive line and say if it was even an average Power 5 offensive line, how many games would we win this year?
7.
7, maybe 8, right? And you're relatively on schedule for, you know, kind of retooling and rebuilding as long as you have a recruiting class to go along with it. Nobody's panicking. But to me, this move all of a sudden says the captain believes that we need to get the life vests on.
But I'd rather him tell me we need to do that before the damn thing sinks. So I can't blame a coach. And this is an interesting conversation because we do this all the time. We want our cake and eat it too and all that stuff. Listen, and we use this a lot. I just talked about it yesterday. Dabo Swinney was on the cusp of being fired. He was 6-7 in his third year. They were going to fire his ass. And he understood things had to change. And he had the ability to remove his ego and say, you know, I'll take less money. Let's get a top-notch coach in here. Let's get some guys in here to help me out. This isn't working. I don't want to lose my job. I like this job. And you know what I am good at? I can really recruit. I can really convince kids to come play at Clemson. And I do care about their well-being, and that shows when I'm in their living room. And I do care that they get their education, and I do care about the institution. And you know what? Let me run this thing as somebody who cares deeply about the long-term success of the program I'm building, the university that I work for, and the kids that I coach. There's nothing wrong with that. It's one approach as opposed to another. Yeah. The CEO approach, right? So if Willie, after year one, goes, I miscalculated. I screwed up. This was a bigger job than I realized. There were more fires to put out than I could possibly extinguish. And you know what I ended up doing? Running in place. I kept it from burning to the ground, but we didn't accomplish anything because I was too busy putting out this fire and this fire and this fire. And every time I turned around, there was another one, and I couldn't catch my breath. And it cost us on the field on game day. It cost me in coaching. It cost my ability to grow the program. And now, listen, we have the reality of my situation is I went 5-7. You want to blame that on me? You want to blame that on the previous coaching staff? You want to blame that on a confluence of events? That's all fine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because you're the guy that loses his job if after next year you go sub 500 again. Now, do I think Florida State would fire him if he'd go 5-7 again next year? I'm not certain, money being what it is, but I think he would never recover. I think for all intents and purposes, he'd be in a world of hurt. Listen, they're counting the money at Florida State right now, and they understand this was already headed towards a disaster. We had years of going in the wrong direction. You got to get something righted, and you got to do it now. And you're watching a rival within your conference run away with this thing, and you've got to find a way to salvage this. And so does it speak of desperation? Sure it does, but maybe we're in a desperate set of circumstances that require you to take a big step back and say, okay, listen, Is this ideal? No, it's not great. I know the baggage this guy comes with, but he's a great offensive mind. I'll lay down the law with the rules. We won't let him have Tampa.
That's not going to be his recruiting territory. No Dale Mabry.
813, baby.
No Dale Mabry. No.
How quick does that meeting happen when they're sitting around divvying up what their responsibilities are in recruiting territory? Do you think they all sit down at the table and Hugh goes, I got Tampa? What? No? Guys aren't cool with that?
Now, Hugh, what did we talk about?
I'm just saying I like Tampa.
We just had our
I really like Tampa, Coach.
We just had our one-on-one meeting, Hugh, and what was the one thing we
You
couldn't
gotta
talk
give
about?
me Tampa. I'm great there. They're special in Tampa.
Orlando's not all that dissimilar, Hugh. Okay? So can we give you the 407?
And Hugh, don't even ask about Miami.
We'll give you Orlando.
I'm giving you Lake City. That's what you got. So, anyhow,
Make the most of it.
I will. Of course you will.
Yeah, you will.
So, on the one hand, I want a coach that recognizes that the plane is about to crash into the mountain.
Yep.
And have the wherewithal to understand that if this doesn't get righted in soon, you're going to lose your dream job. And so, let's get it done. And you know what? If that means you hire a guy like Hugh Freeze, then certainly your reputation takes a hit, and we all have to take a deep breath and understand what this is. On the other hand, if you don't do this and you don't get somebody in here, it's not to say, and that's the other part of this, there's nuance. You don't have to hire Hugh Freeze. There are other offensive coordinators. There are other people in the coaching world that you could bring. Kendall Briles is just the son of the devil, not the devil himself, right? You could maybe bring him in, okay? Sure. Probably also not a great look, but
he's Keanu Reeves instead of Al Pacino.
That's right. That's right. You could bring him in.
Vanity, right, Dad?
Certainly, they've had an interaction. They've worked together before, meaning that they went to visit Baylor to see how this system is run, not practice, but run in a game and all of that, and they learned something. They also visited Hugh Freeze at Ole Miss. So there are connections here for Willie and known commodities, very successful coordinators, without question. You wouldn't do it otherwise. But, yeah, man, you sell your soul a little bit. You do. Then again, what did I just say? Nick's going to hire him the second you don't.
Right.
And nobody says peep because they win.
Yes, but the culture thing, I don't want to hear about the culture thing anymore. As a Knoll, listen, just as a Knoll, personally speaking, now I'm just going to judge you on wins and losses. There's no more heartstrings here. Because if this is the direction we're going, now it's the NFL for me with this coaching staff. You win or you lose. And I'm not going to be losing sleep over either way.
But what I would tell you is that I think it's largely that anyhow, no matter what we try to make it or what Willie wants to make it. I mean, I think Willie is transparent in the sense that what he says he does believe, he does care about those kids. I don't think there's any question about that. He does want to create this atmosphere where kids want to be around each other and hang out and do the kinds of things that successful and well-run and certainly well-orchestrated companies have in place, which is a culture that you want to be a part of and that allows for the kind of long-term success we all dream of. I think that's real. I don't think that that's made up.
I think he wants that, but
but again, what I'm saying is I'm not entirely certain at this juncture. There are so many different ways to go with this, and it's worth vetting. I mean, it's a soap opera. It's a damn male soap opera. We're watching it play out here. What do you do if you love the institution, which I think he does, and this is your dream job, and I think it is, and you're in danger of seeing this all spiral out of control before you could ever gain traction, before you could ever get a good footing because maybe you made a couple mistakes early on and you miscalculated what you were walking into. What do you do to save your dream job? What do you do to save the long-term vision that you have? Is it temporarily make a deal with the devil? This is like politics. This happens all the time with politicians where guys get into it for the right reasons. Eventually they're bought and paid for, all of them. They have to be to get anything done, and it sucks. It's part of an imperfect system, and what do? You know, half the time you dance with the devil, It's
right, but on the route back to, let's just say, a place where he might be in a position to get a contract extension, which it's a long road from here.
Well, it certainly is, yeah.
You're going to say yes to Hugh Freeze and potentially Josh Ball.
Well, now, wait a minute. We haven't entered into the Josh Ball conversation yet. Let's just stay with the coaching for now, and we'll get back to Josh Ball in a bit. I'll reference that article and have that conversation. It's important, but it's not nearly as important as to whether or not, we discussed the offensive coordinator that was here for 1 year and just left for another job, and the potential hiring of a huge name in college football, a great coach, bad dude, Hugh Freeze. There'll be blowback. There's no doubt.
I mean, you have all the stuff he's done in the past, Hugh, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then today he interacts with a psycho super fan, if you can call the person that, on Twitter, sending them a direct message professing that you don't know the whole story. And that was published on Twitter, the direct message exchange. And then he interacts with the person on his verified account. It's got the check mark and everything for the world to see. So after all the other stuff,
Hugh doesn't always make great decisions, Tom.
Well, Jesus.
But on 2nd and 4, he does.
We look like a bunch of a-holes is what we look like with this guy.
Well, that's what he looks like currently. If
he wears our logo, by extension.
When Alabama hires him and they win a national championship, do they think that they look like a-holes, or do they think we're national champions?
What are we trying to do here then?
Win
at all costs?
Well,
at all costs?
Oh, hold on. We are trying to win some damn games. And
I get the pancakes gig. It's fun.
Yeah. Well, and also let's not pretend that there were, that this was a group of angels that won the 2013 national championship.
Agreed.
Okay, so I'm just saying there is wiggle room. There's a lot of larger discussion here, man. It's not so black and white.
I agree with you. However, one of the appeals of this regime that started last year this time was it was going to be a little bit cleaner than the previous one.
Okay.
That was one of the appeals. That was the introductory press conference, all the warm and fuzzies. It wasn't just about being a Knoll. It was about we're going to break a little bit from what Jimbo was, which was a hired gun.
And we have.
I think we're going backwards on that if we proceed with this hire.
I don't disagree, but it may be a necessary moment in which you have to acquiesce to something that's uncomfortable. I don't like colonoscopies, but, you got to do what you got to do. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
FSU fans know where to get the best barbecue. Willie Jewell's Old School Barbecue, 5442 Thomasville Road. Old School Barbecue, cooked low and slow. Find out for yourself what all the buzz is about. And when it comes to tailgating, Willie Jewell's does it best. Get the barbecue tailgate special, pork, brisket, chicken, ribs, turkey, and wings with all the fixins. Ready to make your tailgate the place to pregame. The football team has new blood, but when it comes to barbecue, it's old school. Willie Jewell's Old School Barbecue, 5442 Thomasville Road. Go Noles.
Just like football, when it comes to the court of law, you're going to need a solid defense. I'm Michael D. Blank, attorney with the Law Office of Jose Fernandez in Tallahassee. At the Law Office of Jose Fernandez, there is never an upfront fee, and if we don't recover, then you don't pay anything. Our team is dedicated to handling all types of accident, injury, negligence, malpractice, and wrongful death cases. If you're unable to come to us, we can come to you day or night. Call us now, 855-HOSE-305, for your free consultation today. The Law Office of Jose Fernandez. We don't get paid until you do. Offices, Tallahassee, Miami. JRFinjury.com. Go Noles.
The Junior League of Tallahassee invites you to the 3rd annual JLT Golf Classic at Capital City Country Club on Friday, March 29th, 2019. The Junior League has been dedicated to supporting basic needs for local children and families since 1960, and all funds raised by the tournament will support current JLT projects in our community. Interested in sponsoring this year's event or playing? Email golftournament@jltallahassee.org. That's golftournament@jltallahassee.org.
Son of a biscuit.
What was that?
Something broke my windshield. Look at it. Now I've got to call my insurance.
No. Just contact Seminole Auto Glass. They'll take care of everything for you.
This is Sarah with Seminole Auto Glass. With Florida Full Coverage Insurance, windshield replacement is free, and it's your choice. So choose the local company you know and trust. Seminole Auto Glass, 850-539-4527 or at SeminoleAutoGlass.com. Wow, they're coming to my work tomorrow. That was easy, thanks to Seminole Glass.
Great. Now can we go get some biscuits? I'm hungry.
Still looking for the perfect gift this holiday season? Orca Coolers has something for everyone on your list. This Friday, December 14th, you can shop Orca's Last Chance Sale, where you'll receive 20% off site-wide on America's best high-end coolers and drinkware. Additional discounts will be given on certain products every 2 hours starting at 7 a.m. So don't miss your last chance to make this the coolest Christmas ever. Shop now at orcacoolers.com.
We're completing our descent and will arrive in TLH shortly.
Oh, I'm so happy to be home.
Once we land, you can take off again with savings from the City of Tallahassee.
What do you mean?
The City of Tallahassee offers rebates for up to $300 in savings when you purchase energy-efficient appliances.
Wow, that would be a huge help.
The city also offers free energy audits.
What's an energy audit?
It's when an energy auditor comes to your home at the time that's convenient for you, examines your structure, and checks your energy and water systems. Then, they recommend changes that could save you energy, water, and money. The city also offers free ceiling insulation grants for qualifying customers.
Man, the city sure offers a lot of ways to save money. Once we land, I will check out all of the products and services the city has to offer. This makes me proud to call Tallahassee home.
Thank you for flying with us today. Don't forget that you can take off with savings with the City of Tallahassee. From rebates for Energy Star appliances to insulation grants. You can save energy, water, and money. Visit talgov.com for more information.
Some say Hulu is the bacon of TV. But think about it. Bacon is so incredibly good, everyone's eating everything without bacon forever. And Hulu? Well, with tons of shows and movies, exclusive originals like The Handmaid's Tale, plus live TV for sports, Hulu will ruin TV for you forever. Bacon. Hulu. Hulu with live TV plan required for live content. Restrictions apply.
Hello, radio friends. I'm here to tell you about Barbaritas. Our mission statement is farm fresh. So let's explain. We serve char-grilled, grass-fed beef, hormone-free chicken breasts, and grilled tofu for starters. Farm fresh means fresh avocados used to make guacamole, and tomatoes from the vine to craft fresh pico de gallo. Farm fresh means award-winning burritos, salads, and tacos customized for you. So come visit your local Barbaritas today and literally see for yourself. Barbaritas. We roll farm fresh.
Barbaritos. We make it fresh. You make it yours.
This is Golic and Wingo.
Every player in America should love Aaron Donald because he did it without going to training camp. Last 2 years, he hasn't had a single snap in practice in the summer, and then he comes out and does this.
He can have a legitimate shot for the sack record. He's not going to win the MVP. He definitely would be deserving of it, but he's not. I mean, that's just the way these awards work.
Golic and Wingo, weekdays at 6 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. You're locked in with the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
The last time you went roller skating?
Oh, when the wheels on them busted on me when I was playing hockey a couple years ago.
I remember how excited you were. I felt so bad for you.
I'd switched to going backwards too. I was in a vulnerable position.
That was a toughie.
That was a toughie on the elbow. It's a good thing I had an elbow pad on, or that would have been some sort of crazy fracture.
Well, this is a fun conversation. And there are so many ways to go with it, my man. I'm just laughing thinking about Jimmy Sexton orchestrating like a moment, right? Just what a glorious set of circumstances for him.
In the previous segment, you did say perhaps he was telling Willie that this is something that should happen. Do you think he wields enough power to influence a head coach to bring somebody on?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he kind of runs college football in a way that, nefarious even. Sure. Yeah, why wouldn't you? Right? I mean, if you're getting guys paid and getting them their dream job, they're going to listen.
Well, what about the idea of making the right hire, finding the right people?
Oh, you want to do that too when you can, sure.
Unless Jimmy tells you otherwise? I mean, is that where we are with Jimmy Sexton?
I think that if Jimmy Sexton calls, you take that call. It doesn't mean you do everything he says. It doesn't mean you have to do everything he says. He's a super agent for a reason and has orchestrated a lot of success for a lot of guys and made them a lot of money, including Willie Taggart.
And maybe Hugh is the right hire for the football field. I'm not disputing that. There is no disputing his intelligence and brilliance when it comes to orchestrating offensive football. Nobody's disputing this.
And that's something that, let's get this out there first of all. This is not about whether or not we think he could come in and do a good job. He's done a good job. He is a good coordinator. There's no doubt. It's more about the character or lack thereof. It's about the stuff we do know off the field. It's not the on-field X's and O's. He's good at that. And he is being sought after because of that. It's not just Florida State. Tennessee, like I said, interested. I think both parties interested with one another, but there are just some other hang-ups there at Tennessee, and those are things that, it's weird too, Tom, because there are stuff that I can't get into that you hear from people in that world, right? When I do the national show in the summer, you get a chance to talk to people who cover every conference. And, man, it's just fascinating to hear some of the things that come out over time and inferences and rumors. And you can't go with all those because you want to be somewhat responsible. Certainly sports talk radio is entertainment, but we don't just willy-nilly make stuff up. And so you got to be careful, especially when you're talking about assassinating somebody's character. But here are a lot of bad things about Tennessee right now. So we'll leave it at that. So that probably puts the kibosh on him going there.
It also puts the kibosh on Hugh Freeze ever appearing on this show if you're willing to throw down with a scumbag in the first segment.
Well, I'm not worried about whether or not he wants to talk to me. What I would worry about if he was hired is whether or not he comes in and does a good job, because here's the deal. If you hire a guy with his reputation, he damn sure better come in and kick a lot of ass. I mean, that's what you're trading out here. It's like when you sign a player in the NFL that has a questionable background, he better come in and dominate. If you decide Adrian Peterson is going to be your running back, you know what you're looking the other way from.
Right, yeah.
And he better come in and run like one of the 5 best backs of all time.
Like somebody was hitting him with a belt in the ass.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like somebody was hitting him with a switch in the genitals. Something like that. That's how he's got to come in and run, Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah. For you to justify or sleep at night at all. You just be able to concentrate on the wins that would garner you.
So by extension, doesn't that speed up your expectations for Willie if you're willing to hire somebody like this, though, and pay the price tag to do it?
I think it's been sped up by the disaster that was year one. And I think that now you have desperate times to some extent. Now, I don't know if this is, when you talk about this, when you throw around the idea, is this a good one? Is this what you would do in order to salvage something right away, to ensure some success, come a little bit faster? I don't know. I want the university to protect itself. I don't want to get used in this situation. That's why I brought up the thing about 2 years. That's why I would want Hugh Freeze and Jimmy Sexton to understand that you're not coming in here for a year and then taking off. We just had that happen. We're not doing that again. I understand that that's easier said than done. You certainly can put in contract stipulations, things of that ilk, but I'd want the university to protect itself because we're trying to build something long term. But it might help you salvage something. Might even, go back to the aforementioned Jeremy Pruitt. You and I have had the conversation about when he was hired, what that did for us. I mean, you ended up bringing 2 of the most influential and dominant players in this program in the last 20 years. DeMarcus Walker came because of that, and Jalen Ramsey came because of that hire. So sometimes you hire guys and you're able to salvage a recruiting class or influence a recruiting class, which that in turn helps you win football games, obviously. And right now for Willie, they've got to get organized, and he's got to have a good class. And it doesn't look like he's going to have a top 10 class. I mean, I think Howell's as good as gone now. This is not my area of expertise, but I reached out to everybody today whose area that is, and they did say that it would seem unlikely now that you're going to get Howell. Walt Bell goes back to when that kid knew him when he was in 7th or 8th grade and was talking about offering him. So that was the guy that recruited him in that area, from that area. It was the guy that would have been his coach here, and now that's gone.
I'm going to do the cast the wide net here thing so I can speak a little freely on the topic. But in speaking with you, obviously, over the last 24 hours, or reading Gene Williams and Michael Langston at War Chant, or Josh Newberg and Chris Nee at 24/7, or Bud Elliott, Tomahawk Nation.
Right.
You get a lot of different pictures here. And everybody seems to have different sources, which is cool, because you're getting all these little different kinds of nuggets. But one I did find interesting was when Newberg on 24/7 was talking about the idea that Walt Bell may have gone to North Carolina if Larry Fedora was not fired.
Yeah, and they have a connection.
A previous connection to be the offensive coordinator there. So it wasn't just he was going to leave for a head coaching job. He was leaving for a job. It's just not here. He didn't want to be here.
Rumored to have interviewed at Kansas. But here's
the funny thing.
As an OC.
Which Gene was talking about in terms of the timeline on War Chant. So everybody's got these little nuggets. But what's interesting to me, if you're just looking at Howell as a prospect and whether or not Florida State was going to get him.
It would appear now, no.
If Fedora was still the head coach, then Walt would have taken him, Jeremy Pruitt style, to North Carolina.
Yeah, on signing day.
So perhaps the best crack at this kid that you get is Walt leaving now. Willie has a scheduled in-home visit with him on Thursday. Does he have a new offensive coordinator in tow to introduce to the kid? Fascinating stuff.
You know, I would like to I would also say that I think it is encouraging to some degree that he'd be willing to, and I don't necessarily want to say do this, but the part of the conversation that involves according to Newberg and others, that involves Willie showing a willingness to cede play calling and game day operation stuff to the offense. Hey, you do you. You've got this offense. It's all yours. You're calling plays. You're coordinated during the week. I'm more of a CEO right now because I've got things I've got to do to get this back up to snuff. That's encouraging. Most people don't have the ability necessarily to see that something that drastic is necessary, or a willingness, again, to kind of remove their pride in the moment, because you are in many ways admitting to mistakes when you do that. You're admitting that the situation was too big for you or you miscalculated. You're admitting to something that obviously got in the way of the kind of success you were hoping to have, and that you're showing at this point a willingness to do something pretty drastic about it. In and of itself, that is encouraging. A lot of people won't do that. How many coaches have you seen refuse to give up play calling and it cost them their job? Or remain loyal to a guy who's not doing his job and refusing to replace him? I mean, we certainly know all about that around here. So I'm excited that he is, for the moment, obviously willing to take a step back and say, I got to make a drastic change here and reassess how we're going about things, because this isn't going to get it done, and I'm going to lose my job. Maybe not next year, but the dream job that he speaks of is now in jeopardy because of this first season. You have to get back on top of this thing. You've got to get the momentum moving forward. And why do I bring that up? Do I bring that up as a way of saying, boy, he is under the gun, he's going to get fired next year no matter what, if he goes 6-6 or worse? No. But what do we know about these programs that flip, that get it turned around? What happens? They have success in the first 2 years. They strike while they're hot. They get in there. There's always an uptick in recruiting prowess. There's always that ability to sell change, to sell hope, to sell something new to recruits, right? And the good ones, or the ones that go on to have success at that particular institution, typically catch fire right away. They get in, they get a great class. They get, at the very least, they get momentum moving forward. And then they become something of a locomotive, and by year 2, 3, 4, they are firmly established, see Kirby Smart, doing things, and they just, now then it perpetuates itself for a while, until it doesn't, until it runs stale. But the ones that don't, the ones that sputter out the gates, and they don't get that momentum, and they are unable to cash in on the newness of things, the new car smell and the new pitch, and they can't sell it on down the line to recruits, and they have middling classes, and the success on the field is middling. See McElwain, even with a 9-win season, right? Even people knew what was going on there. That offense wasn't doing a damn thing. He was an offensive guy, and they were winning the East, and the East sucked, and everybody knew they were miles away from competing for an SEC championship, even if they were in the game. Well, people know we're miles away from competing with Clemson right now. We're not in the game, and we're miles from it. So you better build some damn momentum to cash in on the newness of things. And all of the positive stuff that you had in the offseason and everything that you pitched, it goes south when you go 5-7. Doesn't matter the reasons. Doesn't matter if that's Jimbo's fault. Doesn't matter if that's your fault. If the offensive line's poor health led directly to these losses, it doesn't matter. The point is you went 5-7. You're not in a bowl game. You're not talked about. You're not on anybody's radar right now. You better cash in. And if he has a middling class here and they go back out there and look like ass again next year, it doesn't matter if I think he's a great coach. He's in trouble. I think you could then reasonably project that it's not going to work out. And he may even go on somewhere else and have success and get off to a better start somewhere. But the point is the success here would elude him. And that'd be a shame for a lot of reasons, because there are a lot of things to really, really like about Willie Taggart.
Yes, there are. There's a lot to like about Willie Taggart, the guy. Again, I think the decision about the coach you bring in here, if it is Hugh Freeze, and or some of the roster decisions you may be making here in the near future.
We'll touch on that.
They speak to at least a more complicated, bio, I would think.
it would make him more like the rest of college football.
Yes.
It would make him more like every other coach, and you wanted to believe that perhaps he was a little bit different, and I think in some ways you still can, just not as many as you once hoped. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
This Saturday on 97.9 ESPN Radio, a special college football presentation. For the first time on Tallahassee Sports Monster, it's Army versus Navy. Coverage of this year's game begins Saturday at 2 p.m., and Army versus Navy 2018 is brought to you locally by Joe Manassa Real Estate. Online at manassa.com, MANAUSA.com.
Hey, sports fans, who's on your Mount Rushmore of baseball? I'm going with Ruth, Cobb, Aaron, and Mantle. Football, I've got Bradshaw, Peyton, Montana, and Brady. In basketball, Jabbar, Jordan, Bird, and LeBron. This debate could go on, but when it comes to the Mount Rushmore of personal injury law in Tallahassee, the choice is clear. Fonville, Lewis, Messer, McConaughey. Recently voted Tallahassee's best law firm, so avoid the underdog and go with the favorite, Fonville, Lewis, Messer, McConaughey.
The Donald L. Tucker Civic Center is awarding one lucky fan with tickets for an entire year with its Tickets to the Tuck giveaway, presented by POSS Medical Supplies. Grand prize is admission for 2 for every event at the Tuck in 2019. Go to tuckerciviccenter.com to enter. No purchase necessary. Good luck from the Tuck. See official rules for details.
Football is in the air, temps are hot in Tallahassee, and so are the deals at Kevin's Fine Outdoor Gear. Regardless of the score, you still need to stock up on all your outdoor needs to get the job done. Kevin's is the area's top outdoor retailer, featuring thousands of hunting supplies from top manufacturers in the business. If hunting's not your thing, shop their great fishing tackle selection, including Shimano, G. Loomis, St. Croix, and much, much more. Need tailgating supplies? Kevin's has the largest selection of Yeti products in North Florida. Find them at 3350 Capitol Circle Northeast, just south of I-10 exit 203. Only minutes from FSU.
Do you want the cleanest used car, truck, or SUV at the lowest price? FranksAutoWorld.com. How has Frank's Auto World become Tallahassee's fastest growing used car dealer? Simple. Frank carries up to 70 of the cleanest used cars, trucks, and SUVs, then prices them on the internet lower than the competition. Think I'm kidding? Type in FranksAutoWorld.com on your smartphone, iPad, or desktop. Get multiple pictures and even a free Carfax of each vehicle. FranksAutoWorld.com.
Want to fish or hunt this fall from a brand new John boat for free? Pepsi's got you covered. Look for the Pepsi 2 for $5 mini can Madness display at participating retailers and sign up for a chance to win the John boat, motor, and trailer. Pepsi, keeping North Florida refreshed and having fun.
I'm Michael Blank, attorney with the law office of Jose Fernandez. If you've been in an accident, I know this can be a scary and confusing time. Our firm specializes in handling all types of accident and injury cases. Let us guide you through the process and get you the compensation you deserve. Call 855-HOSE-305 to make an appointment for your free consultation today. If you can't come to us, we can come to you, day or night. Call us now, 855-HOSE-305, the law office of Jose Fernandez. We don't get paid unless you do. Offices, Tallahassee, Miami. Se habla español. JRFinjury.com.
Football season is here, and you know what that means. Time to get together with friends over an ice-cold drink and some great food. What better place than Fire Betty's and Fox and Stag? They're expanding their food menus and would love for you to come over and give them a try, along with a unique craft cocktail or cold beer. Follow Fire Betty's, Fox and Stag on Instagram or Facebook for daily food and drink specials, as well as special events. Fox and Stag and Fire Betty's, located at the Manor in Midtown, serving food and drinks 6 days a week.
See, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
The two things that drew us to cable television as sports fans might have been baseball and wrestling. The Saturday wrestling matches were always terrible. It was always this star against, in the beige trunks from Opelika, Wild Bill Schneider. And then the USA Network comes with wrestling. And Kamala's running around the studio, and Vince McMahon, the announcer, is throwing it to commercial because Kamala is chasing a chicken. Keep in mind, the Ugandan giant wasn't from Uganda, we later learned. He was just an American dude because wrestling traffics and racist stereotypes. But I was not a grown Dan Le Batard then. I was but a boy. When they come back from commercial, the camera was very close to Kamala's face, and in his mouth, clearly feathers. Clearly, when they were on commercial, Kamala, there is no other explanation for this, ate a live chicken. and he started blowing feathers at the camera.
The Dan Le Batard Show, weekdays at 10 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. This is what you need to know. Urban Meyer, who won 2 national championships at Florida and 1 at Ohio State, will retire from coaching after the Buckeyes play in the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day. At today's press conference, Meyer did not give a reason for his retirement, but he has battled the effects of a cyst on his brain that causes severe headaches. So has the 54-year-old Meyer actually coached his last game? That depends, says ESPN college football game day host Reese Davis.
I think right now that seems like the likelihood that he won't coach again. But there's always something in these elite level coaches that's deep, that drives, that burns in them to get back there. And he's still a young guy.
Offensive coordinator Ryan Day, who filled in while Meyer served his suspension for mishandling domestic violence allegations against a former assistant, will be OSU's new coach. USC hired former Texas Tech head coach Cliff Kingsbury as its new offensive coordinator. Kingsbury, regarded as one of the top quarterback coaches and offensive minds in the game. Prior to taking the USC job, Kingsbury was being pursued by multiple NFL franchises. From ESPN's Dan Graziano, the NFL is considering 3 separate off-field incidents as it works towards a final decision for former Chiefs running back Kareem Hunt. The result will likely be a multi-game suspension that stretches into next season. KC released Hunt after TMZ posted a video Friday of him shoving and kicking a woman in February. 2 other incidents were altercations at a restaurant in June and at a nightclub in January. Steelers running back James Conner has a sprained ankle and will not play this week against the Raiders. The NHL will add a 32nd franchise in Seattle, which will enter the league for the 2021-2022 season. That will trigger a realignment that will send the Arizona Coyotes to the Central Division. The cost for league entry, $650 million, $150 million more than the Vegas Golden Knights paid to enter the NHL last season.
Broadcasting live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Indeed. Interesting time in college football. Some same old, but off the field stuff that's fascinating, certainly directly involving us, but also you look around, you realize that, a situation like Miami, where I think they've had 14 decommits. 14, dude.
14.
We've lost control over here. It's not good, man.
I hope they have 4 more so we can play the Robin Williams golf clip. 18 bleeping times.
I mean, that is really rather remarkable. They're having problems keeping people that are already actually on the team as well. That, too, is a problem. So the Mark Richt thing ain't going well.
They're in trouble, Mike.
Yeah. So that matters. And, of course, if you're a Florida fan, you're sitting back going, yes. You're loving all of this. You're loving what's going on here, what's going on down in Miami. I mean, it wasn't a good time to be a Gator in better part of this decade, but hey, it is right now. This is what the coming out the other side of 4-8 and 4-7 and a whole lot of suckage does.
Things are looking up.
Yeah, this is the last one you got to contend with. Like, if you come at it from that angle, it's tough to do, but let's just entertain it for the second. If you're the Gators, if you're a fan or alumnus or supporter of Florida, you're going, all right, good first year. Mullen's doing a good job. All right, I would like to see the uptick in recruiting. Dan, this is a little shaky on the recruiting, but the on-field product is solid, and we finally bested our rival. That's a good thing. They appear to be in trouble. Another team we have to recruit against in the state in a really fertile ground is in deep trouble. Okay.
I heard they're starting to sling pancakes up there in Tallahassee, and Hugh Freeze is putting on the sugar on top of them.
Yeah. Now, I would say this: if you're a Florida fan, you don't want us to hire Hugh because you know he can coach. He can, and I do think he would help. Nobody can help really get this to where it's humming the way that it needs to be until you get better personnel on the offensive line. And there's no offensive coordinator that's going to be able to do that. So that's another thing to keep a close eye on.
So what would you think are the dynamics of the Hugh Freeze situation beyond money and term, that kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
It's a guarantee that Florida State gets his services if, let's say, Loxley leaves for Maryland next week or something like that.
I can't have this situation where my man just rolls on because Alabama's got limitless funds to pay the buyout and he's just out a week later to go to Alabama. And the one thing I can't get clarification on just yet is what are the stipulations in the SEC for Hugh Freeze in the wake of everything that happened at Ole Miss?
If not official, then wink, wink, nod, nod.
How does the SEC view him? Can he be hired right now by teams in that league? Would their commissioner say, all right, you've served your time? But it was only the end of 2017. It's been a year. But all these guys, listen, guys who have done worse, I dare say, than to be a hypocrite, a religious hypocrite at that, one who espouses his religious beliefs but then gets caught up with hookers and or is at church the next day. Even hypocrites like that, of the worst kind, but typical, they'll get jobs. They're going to get another opportunity. So he'll get hired. I just don't know how quickly he could get hired.
Right. It's like Dan Aykroyd trying to pawn off the watch and trading places. Man, that's way too hot. I can't buy that from you.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give you $40. Or maybe Hugh Freeze is that watch.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You trying to sell me one of these?
I'm just curious what the SEC's rules are on that and what they've agreed to off the record, if you will, and I'm curious. We don't have enough time to get into something that I wanted to get into here regarding former Florida State starting offensive tackle Josh Ball, so I'll do that in a second. But in the interim, I'll tell you to get a new pillow for you and a friend. Go to MyPillow.com. Maybe get one for your wife this holiday season, right? Maybe one for your best friend. Maybe your grandma needs a new pillow. Well, she would love MyPillow. MyPillow.com is the website. It's a buy one, get one free special for the holidays. There you go. They extend the money-back guarantee all the way through March. 10-year warranty. You can wash the sucker. You can dry it. Doesn't matter. Sleep studies show that you fall asleep quicker and you snore less. Boom! MyPillow.com. Use the promo code 979ESPN. That's promo code 979ESPN. I have one. I love it. You will too. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Of the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway for its delicious food, cold drinks, and Vegas wall of 8 50-inch flat-screen TVs. Now, the Corner Pocket gives you a new reason to start off every week at the CP. Monday Night Mania. Enjoy 50-cent wings and $5 domestic pitchers of beer every Monday night from 7:30 till 11 p.m. That's right, 50-cent wings and $5 domestic pitchers as you enjoy Monday night on the gridiron. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill and Monday Mania. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
It's that time of year again where you get to shop for the naughty and the nice. Make it easy. Super Lube it with a Super Change card. Visit any of our 19 area Super Lube locations, buy 3 oil changes and get 1 free. And for a limited time, you'll also receive a free fuel system cleaner. Super Lube. It's quick and convenient, and you never need an appointment. Hurry in and get your Super Change card plus a free fuel system cleaner today.
How I love to Super Lube my car, lube my car. How I love to Super Lube my car. Yes, sir.
We're completing our descent and will arrive in TLH shortly.
Oh, I'm so happy to be home.
Once we land, you can take off again with savings from the City of Tallahassee.
What do you mean?
The City of Tallahassee offers rebates for up to $300 in savings when you purchase energy-efficient appliances.
Wow, that would be a huge help.
The city also offers free energy audits.
What's an energy audit?
It's when an energy auditor comes to your home at the time that's convenient for you, examines your structure, and checks your energy and water systems. Then, they recommend changes that could save you energy, water, and money. The city also offers free ceiling insulation grants for qualifying customers.
Man, the city sure offers a lot of ways to save money. Once we land, I will check out all of the products and services the city has to offer. This makes me proud to call Tallahassee home.
Thank you for flying with us today. Don't forget that you can take off with savings with the City of Tallahassee. From rebates for Energy Star appliances to insulation grants. You can save energy, water, and money. Visit talgov.com for more information.
Hey pros, did you know that when you buy in bulk at Lowe's, you can save big? Like when you buy contractor quantities of Hardy Backer cement boards, you can save up to 10%. And that's an everyday savings too. It's just one of the many services Lowe's offers pros to help put more money toward their bottom line. Plus, you can save time by ordering ahead on lowesforpros.com and pick up your order at our Pro Desk. Learn more about what we can offer your business by stopping in and talking to one of our pro services specialists today.
Some say Hulu is the bacon of TV. But think about it. Bacon is so incredibly good, everyone's eating everything without bacon forever. And Hulu? Well, with tons of shows and movies, exclusive originals like The Handmaid's Tale, plus live TV for sports, Hulu will ruin TV for you forever. Bacon. Hulu. Hulu with live TV plan required for live content. Restrictions apply.
Whether you're a professional athlete, casual player, or simply enjoy watching the game on those hard bleachers, any physical activity takes its toll on the body. Athletes require superior amounts of flexibility, speed, coordination, and strength to perform, and they know that treating aches and pains with their chiropractor early is critical to getting back into the game. At HealthSource, our goal is to keep you healthy and playing at the top of your game, whether it's professional sports or simply making it through the work week pain-free. Our team is dedicated to your health, but your aches and pains will never go away if you don't come in and see us. Give us a call today, 877-8980. Health Source. Don't settle for just treatment. Let us care for you.
In 1945, Jack Whitten started a glass company in Tallahassee. Now, over 70 years and 3 generations later, it's still working every day, doing just as Jack wanted, giving his customers real solutions for replacing window glass, providing custom-cut mirrors, and supplying superior bath and shower enclosures. Local building contractors know Whitten Glass takes care of Tallahassee business. They prefer Whitten because of their precision and mastery of eye-catching storefront glass and countertop glass. It's a fact. When you choose Whitten Glass, you're working with real glass people who will take care of you to your complete satisfaction. It's what Jack Whitten wanted, and it's been the Whitten way of doing business for over 70 years. Whitten Glass, Tallahassee's first family in glass since 1945. Call Whitten Glass today or visit them online, 850-222-5781 or whittenglass.com.
Driving every day from the AmeriGas studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. This is what you need to know. Urban Meyer, who won 2 national championships at Florida and 1 at Ohio State, will retire from coaching after the Buckeyes play in the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day. At today's press conference, Meyer did not give a reason for his retirement, but he has battled the effects of a cyst on his brain that causes severe headaches. So has the 54-year-old Meyer actually coached his last game? That depends, says ESPN college football game day host Reese Davis.
I think right now that seems like the likelihood that he won't coach again. But there's always something in these elite level coaches that's deep, that drives, that burns in them to get back there. And he's still a young guy.
Offensive coordinator Ryan Day, who filled in while Meyer served his suspension for mishandling domestic violence allegations against a former assistant, will be OSU's new coach. USC hired former Texas Tech head coach Cliff Kingsbury as its new offensive coordinator. Kingsbury, regarded as one of the top quarterback coaches and offensive minds in the game. Prior to taking the USC job, Kingsbury was being pursued by multiple NFL franchises. From ESPN's Dan Graziano, the NFL is considering 3 separate off-field incidents as it works towards a final decision for former Chiefs running back Kareem Hunt. The result will likely be a multi-game suspension that stretches into next season. KC released Hunt after TMZ posted a video Friday of him shoving and kicking a woman in February. 2 other incidents were altercations at a restaurant in June and at a nightclub in January. Steelers running back James Conner has a sprained ankle and will not play this week against the Raiders. The NHL will add a 32nd franchise in Seattle, which will enter the league for the 2021-2022 season. That will trigger a realignment that will send the Arizona Coyotes to the Central Division. The cost for league entry, $650 million, $150 million more than the Vegas Golden Knights paid to enter the NHL last season.
Broadcasting live from the AmeriGas Propane Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We are online, ESPNTallahassee.com. You can go there and listen live via the streaming. You can also go there after the show concludes to find all 3 hours of it. We'll post it there in the archived audio as well as on the app. Free WTSM app for your mobile devices. Get that. And to iTunes, where, of course, all of you go and send rave reviews for the masses to pick up on. Email the show if you want at jcs@979espnradio.com. Fun doing shows like the one today where you have so much to unpack and different angles and the tentacles that kind of emerge from the larger talking point of hiring a guy like maybe, Hugh Freeze. And whether or not that's, going to happen, we don't know. Could happen while we're on the air right here. Certainly time is of the essence, so we're told.
Director Matthews' job today is to live on Twitter. I'm sure he's going to be so happy at 6:02.
I was going to say the level of depression.
When nothing happens.
Well, and the things you have to see from your fellow man on Twitter. Bring you to your knees. There's no hope for us. Good God. But it's intriguing, and it's coupled with a story we didn't get to in the 3 o'clock hour, and I should probably, at least reference here. I want to tread lightly here. Deshaun Reed does a great job for The Athletic, and he wrote the story. This is something that has been kicked around in Florida State circles now for months. We've talked about it on the Jeff Cameron Show. Others have written about it. He wrote about it earlier this afternoon, and it's a fascinating proposition. I really just don't think this is going to happen, Tom. I want to say this before we move forward and I read excerpts from this and get into the crux of the issue here. I just don't think this is going to happen. If it was going to happen, I'm not sure the university was prepared for the blowback or that Willie Taggart would be prepared for the blowback. I'm talking about former Florida State starting offensive tackle Josh Ball and the thought that he could be reinstated to the football program and brought back once he is a student again at the university, if that's even something.
If he is, in fact,
reinstated.
Yep, there it is.
This was a guy who started 9 games in 2017. No doubt would be, if we're just talking about football, and we're not, but if we were, a huge upgrade to anything we have at tackle currently and was one a year ago. This is one of the many problems that Willie Taggart inherited, which was not having, tackles. They didn't exist on this team. So centers were playing guard and guards were playing tackle, and then you had no real tackles, and the guys you did have either got hurt or transferred or quit or got kicked off, whatever it might be. So he's a decent player and started 9 games for us in 2017. Went through spring practice in 2018, was suspended, took it on down the road to Butler County, CC, and El Dorado, Kansas. I'm sure their downtown is bumping. What an evening. Let's take it on downtown here in Dorado, kids. Anyhow, that's an aside. He was hoping to get back here. Now, that coach of that team said to The Athletic, it is my understanding that FSU would love to have him back on their team. Perhaps. I don't know if that's true or not true. He asserts that it is. I have no reason to not believe him. I'm sure he feels that way. But that he hadn't had any contact with FSU officials, and Ball hadn't made any decision about where he was going to go next. That was the other part of that quote. In the story, Deshaun writes, another person familiar with the situation said Ball intends to move to Tallahassee in January, go through spring practice. But for that to happen, the school would have to allow him to re-enroll in January. One of the sources who said Ball would attempt to return noted that it's up to the university officials and not the athletic department about any re-enrollment. And again, I'm looking at all the other stuff that has to happen here. You know, you have the student in this case separated from the university for a specified period, and the FSU Student Conduct Code states that, quote, outcomes that may involve separation from campus may require readmission to the university depending on the length of separation from the institution. So readmission is not guaranteed.
Right. This is fallout from Title IX stuff.
That is correct.
A Title IX proceeding.
It was a Title IX case. There were no public documents of the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. There is a police report, which was filed by Tallahassee Police, detailing incidents between Ball and then his then-girlfriend, Sandra Sellers. She, as you guys know, this is documented, we've talked about this, was able to get an injunction against him, an injunction for protection. It's called the Protection Against Dating Violence. That dates back to November 13th. So he couldn't be around her in any way. He couldn't be within 500 feet of her residence, couldn't be near her parents' place, her place of worship, couldn't be within 100 feet of Sellers' schools that she was at, any of that stuff, her place of employment, her car. They basically said stay away from her, period. Now, what got weird here where we had this even be a possibility is that he was never charged with a crime. And it's important to note that, right? But there are 11 incidents that are highlighted in the injunction, and they're not pretty. There were, you have physical contact with her, and this is the way it's described in that injunction, that he slapped her in the face after he broke her cell phone. He pushed her into a closet, allegedly because he was upset she went to Disney World with a friend and didn't text him in a amount of time that was suitable, at least according to him. And then he threw her on the ground, cut her knee open when he did that because he thought that she was spending too much time away from him. That's according to the injunction. Now, what's interesting here is originally when that story came out, you didn't hear from her, but now she is quoted here. I am trying to put this behind me, but I will not be silenced or intimidated by this repeat sexual and physical abuser, Sellers wrote Tuesday in a post to her Instagram story. His reprehensible behavior is public record. For Willie Taggart to consider bringing him back on campus is a physical threat to me and any other woman at FSU. He's been given multiple chances and was enabled by the previous coaching staff, who even conspired to cover up his behavior and blame me. Trust me when I say FSU does not want to reopen this wound. I am a huge FSU football fan and have always been. I want the best for the team. Coach Taggart can recruit better players and much better human beings. I will have no further comment. So, I don't know if they want him back or not. That is asserted here. I don't think it's made up out of thin air. He certainly serves a position of need, to say the least. But I think it would be a terrible misstep and poor judgment across the board from the athletic department, the university, and obviously Willie Taggart if they brought Josh Ball back. This is not a way out of your problems.
Yeah, I agree here. I think it's important to note that there is no charge of a crime.
That's what I said. I said that.
And, right? No, I'm agreeing with you. It's just important to, if I'm formulating my own opinion on that, to be balanced before I reach my conclusion. That happened. The burden of proof in a Title IX case, as we remember from the Jameis Winston situation, is more probable than not. It's not beyond a reasonable doubt. At that point, the university did find enough under that burden to say, no mas, you got to go for a little while. A judge did think enough to grant an injunction in this case, but understand that the incidents in the injunction, I would believe, are from her point of view and not tied to a charge of a crime. It's important to say all of those things.
It absolutely is.
Because I'm going to reach the conclusion that you can't play here. You can't do it. You can't do it.
You can't. Go somewhere else. And I don't know, this is also noted by his coach at El Dorado, Kansas, whatever, Butler County, CC, that he still had to make a decision about where he was going to go. I think it would be best for all parties that he not come back here.
Right. And in this article, I think it's a bad look for the football program that it appears that the program itself is willing to have this guy, but now the university is put in this between a rock and a hard place circumstance where they're the ones that people are going to be watching now. How are you going to rule? And whether or not there's truth to her allegations or not, or whether or not he's got his own side of the story, the university now is in a position, from an optics standpoint, to either enable the football program to get a player where they really need one, or to say no and take the high ground. That's where John Thrasher and the administration are right now.
President Thrasher has proven to be a no-nonsense guy, has moved to immediately suspend players in situations similar to this or anything like this. So I've admired that about him. And I certainly believe he's got the university's best interest in mind. It would be surprising that if it was within his power or right to do so, to see him allow for Josh Ball to come back. Now, I don't know what the rules are in this, though. Again, no crime charge, just the 11 different incidents documented in the injunction.
Does he have a right to
Can he even do that? Right.
Yes,
I mean,
legally speaking.
You may not be able to ban him, right? I mean, you may not be able to say you can't come back.
Because it's a state institution instead of a private one. There may be legalities, that we're unaware of.
Exactly, and that's kind of important.
But I think the important thing here, what Deshaun is doing, is he's framing this, and I'm not saying he's putting his hands on it and changing it, but I'm saying the way he's presenting this is football program says, we want him back. This young lady says, danger to the community, and now the university has to make a decision on whether or not he's allowed back on campus.
Yeah,
that's the bottom line.
The exact writing from the story here, again, in the Athletic, Deshaun Reed's story is a source with direct knowledge of the situation said if Ball is reinstated by the university, the coaching staff is open to allowing him back on the team. Another source said the plan always was for Ball to attempt to return to the team. Well, that's fine. I mean, I'm sure that has been Josh Ball's plan all along. He wants to play football here. He has played football here, started 9 games a year ago, would like to come back. That in and of itself isn't damning to the university or the football program, that young man wants to come back and play here. Yeah. As far as being reinstated to the football team only if the university reinstates him, I think the football program stance would be that if the university reviewed all of the information in this case and thought enough to reinstate him, then it's not for us to stand in the way.
Right. It's not our problem.
It's not our – well,
but that's where –
well, okay, I'm just telling you, that's what they would say. They'd say, hey, listen, basically a court much higher than ours said he's fine to come back, and if he's fine to be in the university, then he can play football here.
There's absolute logic with that, but
I'm just saying to you that.
Coach Cameron, what would you do?
No, if I believed that he was responsible for slapping her across the face, he would never play for me. No. That's what Coach Cameron would do. There'd be no chance any player ever would strike a woman in the face and have a chance to play for me.
Or anywhere, really.
The only well, that's true. But the set of circumstances there would be an exception to that would be only if it was 100% proven that they were defending themselves from grave danger.
I think the interesting thing is here, she broke her silence on this, and I don't know the nature of the exact details, the agreement that they had after the injunction, but I thought you couldn't comment on anything. So does he have a side of the story, and now does he give himself leeway in this moment? Well, I think it's important. If you were to reinstate this player,
you better be able to show another side
that's
of these.
What I'm saying.
You would have to. Absolutely, you would. And, by the way, when you marry this with the larger story that Hugh Freeze is potentially a candidate to be the next offensive coordinator at Florida State, given all that he's been through, it's a bad look across the board.
It's a hell of a Tuesday, man.
It's a hell of a Tuesday, sir. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Metal bands I used to go see on the landing in the summer. She fell in love with the drummer. She fell in love with the drummer.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan, and the 2019s are arriving every day, including the all-new 2019 Altima. Pick 6 Savings has almost cleared out the 2018 Altimas, but we still have a good selection of 2018 Rogues, Pathfinders, and Muranos that are all $6,000 off. All 2018 Sentras are $4,000 off, and we have over 40 to choose from. 2018 Versa S 5-speeds are $11,995, and 2018 Versa S Plus Automatics are $13,995. And we've extended the $10,000 off all 2018 Titan and Titan XD, regular cabs, extended cabs, crew cabs, gas or Cummins diesel. All 2018 Titans are $10,000 off, and we will give you $2,000 over Kelly Blue Book for your trade. That's $10,000 off all Titans and $2,000 over Kelly Blue Book for your trade, or a total of $12,000 in discounts on every Titan we sell. But you better hurry. The 2018s are going fast. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. Prices include dealer preparation charge.
Seminole fans know barbecue, and Tallahassee's best Southern barbecue is Willie Jewell's. Willie Jewell's Old School Barbecue on Thomasville Road. Smoked on site 24 hours a day. Cooked low and slow the old school way. And every meal is served with a side of Southern hospitality. And take advantage of the barbecue tailgate special. Pork brisket, chicken ribs, turkey, and wings with all the fixings to make your tailgate the place to pregame. Let Willie Jewell's take the stress out of your next tailgate or event. Willie Jewell's, 5442 Thomasville Road. Go Knowles!
Hey sports fans, who's on your Mount Rushmore of baseball? I'm going with Ruth, Cobb, Aaron, and Mantle. Football, I've got Bradshaw, Peyton, Montana, and Brady. In basketball, Jabbar, Jordan, Bird, and LeBron. This debate could go on and on, but when it comes to the Mount Rushmore of personal injury law in Tallahassee, the choice is clear. Fonville, Lewis, Messer, McConaughey. Recently voted Tallahassee's best law firm, so avoid the underdog and go with the favorite. Fonville, Lewis, Messer, McConaughey.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Get your weekend started right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio, Saturdays at 6 a.m. with Fishing Florida Radio. Listen to the three amigos, Boudreaux, Steve Chapman, and Captain Mike Ortega, as they catch you up to speed on what's new and biting in the North Florida region. Big-time guests, celebrities, interviews, and 3 hours of the fishing info you need. Fishing Florida Radio is brought to you by Sea Quarters Marina off Highway 98 in Carabel. Sea Quarters Marina, your full-service marina, and presented by Hobbit American Grill and Mike's Marine Supply.
This is Sarah with Seminole Auto Glass. If hail or debris from the recent storm did damage to your vehicle, contact Seminole Glass today at 850-539-4527. We'll take care of everything for you with mobile service and a lifetime warranty. We're in network with your insurance, and it's your choice. So choose the local company you know and trust. Seminole Auto Glass, 850-539-4527 or at SeminoleAutoglass.com, because no one takes care of your car like Seminole Auto Glass.
Football season is here, and the last thing you want to do is get involved in a painting project. So call the guys at Berrigan Painting to take care of all your needs. They are family-owned and have been in business for over 30 years. Commercial, residential, and industrial jobs are their specialties, and they are city and county vendors. Hours of operation are Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. until 3:30 p.m. For a free quote, email them at berriganpainting@comcast.net or give them a call at 878-3988. Visit online at berriganpainting.com. Berrigan Painting. They have you covered.
Want to fish or hunt this fall from a brand new John boat for free? Pepsi's got you covered. Look for the Pepsi 2 for $5 mini can Madness display at participating retailers and sign up for a chance to win the John boat, motor, and trailer. Pepsi, keeping North Florida refreshed and having fun.
Car get caught in some gridiron action? Take it to Bob's Auto Repair and Collision Center. Now open at the new location on Lake Bradford Road. The new Bob's Auto Repair and Collision Center is still providing the best car care and collision service in town with the same great people, but now at a new state-of-the-art facility off Lake Bradford Road. Come check it out for a free collision estimate and find out why Bob's Auto Repair and Collision has been rated #1 with FSU students in Tallahassee for over 35 years. Bob's Auto Repair and Collision Center, 2293 Lake Bradford Road. Don't let your car get stuck on the bench this season.
License number MV01209.
The Jeff Cameron Show is brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Big store pricing with local service. Online at ctf.nu.
Almost an afterthought, at least around these parts, that Urban Meyer retired today. Predicted that much earlier this year when obviously he had a scandal-marred season and was responsible for reprehensible behavior in which he willfully ignored obvious cases of abuse from a member of his coaching staff, and then proceeded to lie about it and chastise those that asked him legitimate questions, beginning at Big Ten Media Days, in which he was caught in a lie and seemingly was appalled by the thought that anybody dare question his judgment. 54 years old, has won 3 national titles, 2 at Florida, 1 there at Ohio State, just got done winning the Big Ten title. There is no questioning his ability as a coach, at least as it pertains to winning football games. His all-time record, 186-32. Ohio State, despite having an up-and-down season this year, did go 12-1, and as I alluded to a moment ago, won the Big Ten, but it did not make the Final Four of college football, which is a good thing. And his career, without question, is about more than wins and losses. The conversation expanded